I'm gonna record me eating this cookie for the viewers at home. Okay. As I was emphasizing earlier in the previous video to the other class, what kind of test are you taking? Multiple choice.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I can guess.
You can guess, all right, but I would like any of your guesses to be educated guesses.
Do we have to show?
Here's what I mean. No, you're not. That's an important question. Do I have to show work? No. It's a Scantron, so we're grading your Scantron answers. Now, why do I think that's an important question?
I don't like that.
Well, if you know that you're finding direction or, something like that, don't write down tangent inverse. Just use your calculator and, figure it out, okay? Don't waste the time to write it down if you don't need to, okay? Now, if you need to, just to kind of visualize it so you know which quadrant you're in or whatever you're working on. But what I mentioned to my last period, which I need you guys to realize is, so that you don't get bogged down on this test and not have enough time to finish, you need to be able to analyze the answer choices. Here's an example. Suppose they ask for the magnitude and the direction. But the direction on every single choice is exactly the same. It would be a huge waste of time for you to find the direction. So what I want you to do is I want you to analyze the answers to see what is the important part I really need to figure out. Do I really need to figure out the direction, or can I just find the magnitude and that would answer the question for me? I do need you to, I know that that's not how we normally do things in a math classroom. And when you're doing, when I practice these questions with you, we show all the work and blah, 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 blah. But when you're doing this with a multiple choice, I really need you to analyze those answers. If it's a parabola, you know how to write it in standard form. Well, what if, what coordinate do you see in the equation of a parabola? What coordinate is very obvious when you look at it? The vertex. Well, what if in the problem they give you the focus and then one of the answer choices uses that focus? That's a bad answer. Throw it out. Okay? All I'm getting at is don't fall for those bad choices. Analyze the answers and use them to your advantage to speed up the question. Just don't burn a lot of time on stuff that's unnecessary. And yes, I know it hurts me down deep inside to say don't show your work, but this is the time where you're not going to be doing that. Okay, so question 27 on the calculator section. Express the complex number in trigonometry. Oh, yeah, I know. Some of you are giving me that look like, oh, do we have to do math? I understand that. But see, I have to get through this, and then during my 7th period, when there's nobody here, I probably will continue to teach until I get through the end of this, right? So that you guys have every single question and there's no, I didn't know how to do that.
Go you. Go you.
Mm-hmm. So that's why I need your help and your assistance as we continue to work through this. So I'm graphing this thing here. Oops, that's a bad choice of a y-axis. Right? What?
I don't know.
So -4 plus 4i is in quadrant 2 like that. And what do we need? If we need trigonometric form, don't we need the radius and the angle? So how do I do that? Isn't it a right triangle? I got side lengths of 4 and 4. How am I going to find the radius? The Pythagorean theorem. Now, if you remembered from geometry class that it's a special right triangle, the 45, 45, 90, it'd be 4 radical 2, right? So I would not have to waste my time doing the Pythagorean theorem if I recognize it's a 45, 45, 90 and that my radius is going to be 4 radical 2. Okay? But if you don't recognize that, then you probably have to, right? And then, of course, what's your angle measurement? Smack dab in the middle of quadrant 2. It's based on a 45-degree angle, but 135? What if my answers are in radian? It'd be 4 radical 2 cosine 3 pi over something. Over 4 plus I sine 3 pi over 4. That's a lot of typing for, taking notes. Okay. Okay. So I got 2 minus 2i, so I got a 2 there, and a minus 2i, so now we're down here. What kind of triangle is this? Does anybody notice that it's a special right triangle? Definitely not a 30-60-90.
You tried. You tried.
Nice try.
So it's 2 minus 2.
It is 2 radical 2 for the radius. Yes. One of those 45-45-90 ones again. All right. So we got 2 radical 2, and then cosine of what? What is the cool angle that comes all the way around there? 315. Wow, that was weird. I drew in red, and then it switched to green in the middle. Now, I had chosen green, but it didn't take effect. That was weird. Okay, plus I sine 315. Okay, now, this whole thing is getting raised to the 5th power. What does that do to the radius? Raises it to the 5th power. All right, so we need 2 radical 2 to the 5th. What's it going to do? What's the 5 going to do to this 315? Multiply it, right? So I'm going to get cosine of 1575. And I sine 1575. Now, I know this is going to sound pretty technical, but 1575. I might even switch over to my camera just so you can see how technical this is. Let me get this plugged in. Suppose you don't know where 1575 is on the unit circle. Okay? Watch this. This is called technicalities right here. I'm going to subtract 360. All right? Subtract 360. And again, and again, and again. Hey, it's 135. Using a recursive idea. I know. Pretty cool. Just keep subtracting until you get down to where you need to be. All right, so 135 is where we're at on the circle. You can change it to radians. I don't know if that's what you were getting at. Right, so you could see how many revolutions it was, and then... Yeah, you could do that. Okay, that'll work. So 2 radical 2 to the 5th power, that would be 32, right? 2 to the 5th is 32. And what's radical 2 to the 5th? Isn't that 4 times radical 2? So that would be 4 times 32. What's 4 times 32? 128 radical 2. All right, so we got that. And then, of course, we've established that the 1575 is really the same thing as 135, just by subtracting. So what's the cosine? Let's think about this. As I was going through the test today and looking at the formula sheet, I noticed that we didn't have a unit circle on the formula sheet. So I yelled at the other teachers and I said, hey, we need a unit circle. If you want to speed this thing up so that they can actually get done with this, then we need a unit circle. And they agreed with me, so we've got a blank unit circle for you. Because I think that that's just reasonable. I mean, with all the amount of work you've done with a unit circle, to not give one on the final would be ridiculous. So 135, that's be smack dab in the middle there. What's the x value? That is radical 2 over 2. plus I. What's the sign of? Yes. What's the sign for that value? Same. Now, is either of those supposed to be negative? Oh, the x, exactly. All right, now distribute the 128. What happens? Oh, yeah, the radical 2's cancel out and give me 2. So when I do that times that, that's going to cancel and give me what? What do I get when I multiply them together? I think I just get negative 128. Yeah, the 2 on the bottom cancels with those 2 radical 2's. Oh, okay. Now when I take this times that, what happens? Positive 128i. Well, just think, raising it to a power. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. You're going to take your calculator, raise it to a power. All right, and then you're going to multiply this. What if the answer, what if the answers were all in trigonometric form? Then I don't have to do this extra stuff where I'm distributing the 128 radical 2. So, just have to pay attention to the answers. All right, so 29 is going to be very similar. You got 1 plus I, or 1 minus I, sorry, you got 1 minus I. Ooh, what kind of triangle is that? A really bad one. Oh my goodness, my eraser, what's going on? It's trying to erase. Don't you laugh at me, I hear you over there. So 1 and minus 1, so it's the same 45, 45, 90. You're going to go through the process. What's your radius? Radical 2. So we got cosine of 315 plus I sine 315. And that's all being raised to the 10th power. And then, of course, you would take radical 2 to the 10th power. And then 10 times, so you'd have there 3115. Boy, I do not want to keep doing this. Since there's other fish to fry on this whole worksheet. Yeah, wouldn't that be like 2 to the 5th? That'd be like 32. Good observation. And 3150 plus I sine 3150. So, I'm going to have to... What's the question? Don't you take 315 and multiply by 10? This 10 on the outside will...
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. Minus 360. Keep going. Looks like we got 270. So this would be cosine 270 plus I sine 270. Let's see. What's the cosine of 270? Think about your unit circle. Cosine 270 is at the bottom. What's the x value? 0. So that'd be 32. And what's the y value? Negative 1. So this is 32 times negative I, or negative 32i. What? Alright, not sure what's going on over there. Alright, so what am I supposed to do with the radius, the 6? Whoa. Sorry. So 6, and so if your answer choice doesn't have a 48 for the radius, are you going to pick it? No, you're going to skip it and move on. All right, now, what am I supposed to do with the 70 and the 185? Add them together. All right, so what do we have? 2 what? 255, yes. Yes. But I'm guessing your answer is going to be like this. Okay, so I don't have to do anything more. Okay, so what about, oh man, that's just another product one, man. Why do I have to waste my time doing this again? 6 radical 7. And then we got cosine. What do we do with the 55 and the negative 125? Adam. Yes. Whatever his name is. Negative 55 minus Adam. Isn't that negative 70? Can I get an amen or not? Okay. All right. I feel so alone. They've abandoned me, children. All right, what are we doing with the quotient? Divide the outside numbers. Cool. And subtract the other ones. Man, it really doesn't get any more difficult than that. And what do we got, 105?
That's definitely false. It does get more difficult.
Well, on these types of problems, that's all I mean. Okay? I mean, you're either, you're doing the multiplying and adding the angle measurements. So, yeah, I'm not talking about the other ones. You're right. Okay, so 9 over 5, no, I do not want to change that to 1.8, but I could if I wanted to. And then cosine of, what's 90 take away 245? I'm going to do it because they won't. Negative 155? I think I agree with you. Man. I don't know. It did it yesterday. It's freaking me out. It's like a neon sign, man. I hate it. When it starts flickering. It's like the power is going off on the ink.
I think it's just done for me.
Okay. I know. Exactly like you, and I don't want that to be the case. We still got 3 days to cross the finish line here. Okay. Find the vertex, focus, directrix, and focal width. Okay. Focal width should be easy for this, right? What's the focal width? I'll call it FW, not Fort Wayne. It's the absolute value of 4p. What is it? Folks, it's 4 right there. Take the absolute value. Well, then you were right. Sorry.
But isn't that 4p?
Right?
Yes, but that's what is the value of p then?
Oh, p is 1, but that's the focal length, so I can figure out what the vertex and directrix are.
Oh, okay.
All right.
We had them back.
So what's the vertex for this? 0, 0. Okay. All right. And yes, the p value is 1. That's true, because 4p was 4. And which way should this thing be opening? We know that it's either left or right. And because of the negative, it's opening left. So we know the basic shape. So what's the focus? You go 1 to the left, right? So what is that? Negative 1, 0, right? And what about the directrix? Okay, folks, it's an equation of a line. There you go, x equals 1. Yeah, it's a good thing it's multiple choice, right? Because they asked for the directrix. We're not going to. Oh, no. Okay, we're not that cruel. Okay? Cruel, but not that cruel.
I've seen.
Okay, so which way is this one opening? It's either up or down, because it's the x squared variety. So 32 is positive. Is that up or down? That's up. We know its vertex is at the origin. What's the focal width? FW. 32. Thank you very much. What is 1p? If 4p is equal to 32, what's 1p? 8. So I have to go up 8 units to find the focus. So what is that coordinate? 0, 8. Okay, what is the directrix that's down here? Oh, you're killing me.
Okay, y equals negative 8.
Thank you. Sure, I got great facial features in that one. I'm gonna have to watch these videos and just be like, oh my goodness.
You see the horizontal line that runs through 0.08? Because that's technically.
Okay, it's on the directrix, but it is not the directrix. Yes. Okay. We're almost to 59. Okay, what's the vertex?
-4, -1.
-4, -1.
So why is the Because it's always been that way.
Remember fireproof form? This is pretty much that you see fireproof form basically in when x minus h, y minus k. So there's your h and your k are right there. Which way are we opening? Y squared and it's positive. That is opening to the right. Okay. How about that focal width? 16, right? That's 4p. So what's 1p? 4. So now I can use that to come 4 units this way to find my focus. What's my focus? 0, -1. And the directrix. I'm so proud of you. Nice. X equals -8. I know it looks like -18, but it is -8. Sorry for the random part of my dotted line O, which I am not erasing very well. Alright, okay. Alright. Find the standard form of the equation of the parabola. What's the vertex? Maybe we better draw a picture, because some of you have a hard time just doing this in your head.
Oh. That's not O.
It's not O. Okay. So x equals -19 way over here, right? X equals -19. And we've got -9 and 10. Okay, so that's my focus. So my vertex has got to be somewhere in here, and this thing better open to the right. Yeah, it better. What is the vertex? It's got to be halfway between -9 and -19. Now, p is 5. You're right. The p value is 5.
There is not.
-14, comma, what? 10. Okay, yep. Try not to do that in English class. Okay. So when we write our equation, is this going to be an x squared or a y squared? This is a y squared. So we got y minus 10 quantity squared equals something times x plus 14 quantity squared. Okay, now we got to find out what 4p is. It's either going to be 20 or -20. What do you think? Oh, okay, 20. You are correct because it opens to the right. It is 20. But you have to make that decision. Yes, it's multiple choice test, but you will have to decide whether it's 20 or -20. Vertex at 7, -7 opens downward, focal width equals 10. Okay, vertex at 7, -7. Alright. So 7, -7. Opens downward. And focal width is 10. So that's 4p. What does that mean about 1p? Or maybe I don't even need it. I don't even need to find the focal length, right? Because I'm going to use this number in my equation, right? So this is going to be one of the x squared variety, right? And I know I got x, I got 7, and on the other side I've got y plus 7. And so now I need to figure out what goes in there. Is it going to be 10 or -10? It is going to be -10 based on the picture, right? So if you're given the focal width, use it. Say, whoa. What did I do that for? Come on, come on, Come back to me. Okay, vertex at the origin. Focus at 4, 0. Okay. I know. So 4, 0 right there. Okay, so that's my p value is 4. Anybody know what 4p is? 16. You gotta type that in the message. Right now, is this a y squared or an x squared? It is a y squared. Oh, and I'm wasting my time to use a parenthesis, aren't I? Because this is vertex at 0, 0. So y squared equals something times x. And we'd said that this was 16. Is that going to be positive 16 or negative 16? Positive. Because we're opening to the right. What? Match the given graph with its equation. Are there choices? Oh, no choices. Those cruel people. Seriously, I was all excited. What's my center? We obviously know it's an ellipse, so it's something squared plus something squared. And we know it's equal to 1. So, what's my center? Looks like it's right about there. So, what do I put in there? It is negative 1, 3. So how do I use that? X plus 1, y minus 3. Okay, now, it looks like my A value right there is 4, right? That's my A value. And my B value is 2. So, yep, 16 goes under here. And if that's 2, what goes under there? 4, right? A squared and B squared. Yeah, well, based on the length I drew my little red line, it looks like it. It goes outside. It goes outside the ellipse. Sorry. 41 was mysteriously injured and could not make the review sheet. I don't know. It's not there. Unless it is somewhere else and I just don't know about it. It's probably the hidden question that will make or break the whole final. Daggone it. All right. In the words of Mater, daggone. All right, now, find the center, vertices, and foci of the ellipse with the given equation. Okay? The center. The center is at 1, 4. Okay, so we got that part. Yes, it's a tall, skinny one. You're right. So like 1, 4 is my center. What's my A value? The A value, right, square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 25 is 5. So how far? Now, interestingly, when I was grading the Chapter 8 conics, I saw people that were, instead of going 4 right and 4 left, they thought that the minor axis was the entire length 4. So they only went 2 to the right and 2 to the left instead of going all the way over to 5 and negative 3. Okay? So they should have made it like that. And then up 5 and down 5 for, right, so we go up 5, something like this. Not exactly the, somebody snoring back there? Seriously?
If I started breaking up snoring, what would you do?
I'd apologize to all the fans at home, okay, that are watching this video trying to learn.
They would probably get sleepy too.
No, no.
It's loud. I can't wait to go home and watch this video.
Yeah.
Most entertaining video.
it could be. Last period was kind of funny too. So, yeah, about the same size class, and Schweikert was in it. You know,
Oh, that's gotta be.
he brings a lot of love and humor to my life. I love this. It was great.
Whenever I'm in your room, Mr. Staley,
Yes.
he calls me Mr. Richmond. But
Yes.
whenever we're outside the room, he calls me Izzy. So it really throws me off.
Really?
He's trying to press you.
He's trying to impress you.
Oh, that is so sweet.
Willie.
All right. So vertices. Where do we find vertices on an ellipse? End of the major axis, which in this case would be the vertical. So vertices for this would be 1, comma, what? Oh, you're saying that the y value is 4 plus or minus 5. Okay, I got you there, right? So, you know, obviously like 1, 9 and 1, negative 1. Okay, yeah, I get you. And then foci, I need my c value. C in this case is going to be the square root of. Well, what do you think we should do? Inside, right? We want to be inside the box. Which does the inside? Is that subtraction or addition? Subtraction, right? So 25 minus 16. So that's the square root of 9. So my c value is 3. Okay? So that means I'm only going up 3 units and down 3 units. Yes. 1, comma, 4 plus and minus 3. What are we laughing about? Did I do something wrong? What was I going to tell you or remind you about that? Be careful with it. Well, keep in mind it is a multiple choice question. So let's say, you know, the center is the same for all of them, or the vertices. Let's say the vertices are all the same. Don't waste your time finding the vertices. You know, if you don't, find something that's going to distinguish the answers so you can separate them and get the right one. Find an equation in standard form for the ellipse that satisfies the given conditions. Horizontal major axis is length 18, minor axis is length 14. Okay, I got a really dumb question for you. What the heck is the center of this thing?
Well, they didn't tell you, so you can't know.
They didn't tell me. So I'm going to make it up. All right, center, 0, 0.
To assume that the major axis and the length all started.
They didn't give me enough information. It's kind of a dumb question, in my opinion. You got to give me something to start with.
So if it's multiple choice, hypothetically, they could just tell you.
It was chosen from a test bank, so there's a mistake, obviously, in the test bank somewhere. We can, but so this one, let's just finish this one since I have to do every question, you know, to try to help the children. Okay, so if we know that it's got a horizontal major axis of 18, what's it going out to on the right and left? Isn't it 9 and negative 9?
Yes.
Because the whole distance has to be 18. If the minor axis is 14, what's it going up to here and down? 7 and negative 7, right? So that we end up with, so we have x squared and, oops, why did I draw a huge line there? That was not cool. Maybe. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's like crumbs in it.
No, there's 2 cookies.
Don't say I never gave you anything. You know those people that are like, you know, here's a gum wrap. Here's a piece of gum, you know, but it's just a wrapper. And they say, don't say I never gave you anything. All right, so what do I do to find the denominator under there?
Show the fans your cookies.
Oh, my cookies. Yes. Okay, look, I'm going to toss them. Bleh. All right, so what do I do to find the denominator under the x squared term? Something to do with 9. 81. 9 squared is 81. How about that 7? What are we going to do with 7?
Square, 49.
49. Good job. All right.
Have
And
fun recording by yourself.
Hey, I will. Okay, I'll think of you. And all right, now now that they've all left. I won't talk that weird. Okay. So 6th period just left, and we can keep working on these problems. You know, we'll probably get faster without them. I'm just kidding. Okay, you guys. Love you. Love you. You know who you are. So an ellipse with foci 4, -1 and 4, -7. Okay, quick picture here. 4, -1. Really good job there. 4, -1 and 4, -7. Man, I am going to redo this. This is ridiculous. You gotta think about what you're doing here, man. 4, -1, and we'll call that -1. We'll call that 4, and then -7 somewhere down here. These are my foci. So the center, man, center has to sit in between those, which I'm pretty sure is -4, between -1 and -7. So if we've got an ellipse, we know that we've got x minus 4 squared and y plus 4 quantity squared. We at least know that part. We know the equals one part on the other side. Now, they have given me, oops, I keep moving this, and sure it looks weird on camera there. So we know that the C value is 3. That's the distance from the vertex to the focus. All right. We would like to find the B value, which goes past that, and the A value, which is going to go left and right. So we want to find the edges of the box. Now it says that the major axis has a length of 10. So that means 5 units up. So from -4, that's going to put me up here at like +1. So that's my B value right there, 5, because it's going to also go 5 units down. Right? So a total length of 10. If my B value is 5, then I know that under here I've got B squared, or 25. All right, now, how do I do the rest of it? Well, remember the whole C squared on the ellipse where you subtract them? So C squared is, you know, absolute value A squared minus B squared. Let's see here. What do we got? C, so that's going to be 9 equals, B squared is 25. So if the major axis is 10, then A squared has to be smaller than B squared. So I know if I write this formula out, you're going to be like, oh, well, A squared has to be. Well, you need to realize that that A squared is smaller. So we'll just switch those signs just for kicks and giggles because we know that A squared is smaller. A squared happens to be 16 because the major axis is vertical. That means that the minor axis has to be horizontal. So my A value is 4. Right? So going 4 to the left and 4 to the right. And so if my A value is 4, then this would be 16. So there's my answer to that question. Okay, so eccentricity, just so we kind of review, that's distance to focus over distance to vertex. And since I don't know whether A or B is larger, I can't say, like the book said C over A. Well, they assumed that A was larger than B. I did not in my class. Okay, A squared went under the X term, B squared went under the Y term. Sometimes A squared's bigger, sometimes B squared's bigger. So sometimes it's C over A, sometimes it's C over B. Depends on which one is the major axis. But in this case right here, we're going to divide everything by 15. I'll try to squeeze that in. Divide everything by 15. Should just zoom in. I mean, it'll make my life easier. So that becomes x squared over 15 plus y squared over 5 equals 1. Sorry for the flickering. I wish that would go away. I'll have to figure out what's wrong with that. So let's see here. the difference between the two. The square root of the difference between the two, that'd be square root of 15 minus 5, or square root 10. That's my C value. That's the distance to the focus. So we want square root 10 over square root 15 for my eccentricity. Where should I put this, son? Stop that. Get rid of that line. Okay. So we want our E. Stop moving. Stop moving. I locked it. What's it? Oh, okay. Man, it is really having a hard time keeping up. So we got square root 10 over square root 15. Now, remember, it's a multiple choice final exam. That is not the only way it could be written, right? We could have radical 2 over radical 3. For you rationalization fans out there, we could rationalize the doggone thing and have radical 6 over 3. So there's an answer, there's an answer, there's an answer. Now, on the formula sheet answers, or on the answer sheet to this, it has an imaginary number. Do not believe that. I'll tell you what they did. The program that's designed to spit out the answers for this particular test generating software, it got this switched around. It got 5 minus 15 switched around when it did that, and ended up with an imaginary number. I'm like, that's kind of funny, but completely wrong. So if we divide by 39, divide by 39, divide by 39, we would have x squared plus y squared over 39 equals 1. No, we're not. What in the... Gee whiz. Come on, I got my erasing tool on. Why isn't it allowing me to erase? There we go. Yeah, you caught my... I said erase. Okay. Sorry. I have to get a little angry with the technology sometimes. Plus y squared equals 1. There we go. That's much better. You know, for those of you who don't remember, that's over 1, right? Let's see here. C value. That's weird. It didn't turn. So that would be radical 38. Oh, now it changes. That's C. E is equal to C over whatever the larger of A or B is. Well, I should say. So that's going to be square root 39. Not a lot you can do with that if you really, really want me to rationalize it. Not a fan, but okay. What are we going to have? Oh, don't you do 38 times 39? Please tell me they didn't they did rationalize it. Stupid. So radical 1482 over 39. Okay, that to me is dumb. Now, for those of you who are doing this on a multiple choice, if you know this is the correct answer right here, type it on a calculator. This is the calculator portion. Find the decimal, then go find the one that matches. Okay, don't waste your time trying to think through rationalization with numbers unless you just know how to do it really quickly. Otherwise, you know, I'm sure some of you are just going to type. Okay, 47. Find the vertices. I think we did everything on that last. Yep, find an eccentricity. Find the vertices and the foci of the hyperbola. Okay, so okay, so so obviously I was going through this question and I made a mistake on the center, so I had to back up here. My center should be at 2, 5, and I had it at 5, 2. Don't ask me why. I'm trying to go through things too fast. So my center is at 2, 5. So that'd be 2 to the right and 5 up, 2 to the right and 5 up, something like this. So here's my origin, and there's my center. Okay? And we did find out that our A value was 9, so that would take me from 2, 5. It would take me 9 units this way, 9 units that way. And I'm sure my scale's way off, so don't yell at me. And then 12 units down, so I'd have to go 12 units down for, and I know this is an awful looking picture, right, because my box would be, you know, gigantic according to my scale here. Boy, this is a mess. Right through the corners of the box, right through the corners of the box gives me my asymptotes. Okay, it does open up and down. See if I can zoom out here. So if this is the edge of my box and my vertex, why didn't it stop? Okay, it's not stopping. Okay, there. That vertex should be 12 units below 2, 5. So that would be 2, negative 7. So that should be one of my vertices. And the other one up here in the middle of my question 46 is 12 units above. So that would be 217. That one right there is 2,17. And of course it opens up and down. And why does it open up and down? It opens up and down because the y squared term is positive. Y squared term positive, it's opening up and down. If the x squared term was the positive one, it would be opening left and right. Okay, foci. All right, so C is equal to, this is when I add the 144 and the 81 together and take the square root. Nope, not that, Chief. Square root. There we go. And I got 144 plus 81. That's 225. Wow, that's nice. 225. So that means 15. So that means I'm going to go up 15 units and down 15 units. So we need one that's just 3 units. So we would have one focus at 220 and the other focus, I should say foci, you know, to be plural, you know, and technically correct at parties. Why isn't my writing tool there? There we go, foci. So 220 and 2, negative 10. Okay. Man, that was rough. Screwing up those questions. I wish they gave more space on this. This is ridiculous. Match the given graph with its equation. Alright, that's cruel and unusual because they didn't give me. So we're at a little bit of a loss here. I don't quite like what they're doing here. We know that we can find the center, right? At oops. So we're at x minus 1 quantity squared and y. See, that's negative 3, so that'd be a plus 3. Okay, now, since it's opening up, the y squared is positive. That makes the x squared negative. I know some of you at home like to see the positive one first and the negative one second. It's okay. You can write it that way. It's multiple choice exam, so, you know, pick the one that's right. Looks like there's a b value of 2. And if the b value is 2, then that means we've got a 4 under here. Now, the thing that I'm questioning is the a value, because it's hard for me to tell. I don't see the box. They didn't give me enough information. I mean, can I figure out what the slope of that line is right there? Maybe. I don't know. That might be a little challenging to figure out what the slope of that is. It looks like up 2 and maybe over 3. I'm just going to guess. I'm going to say up 2 and over 3. So I'm going to say that my a value is 3 because it's a little hard to tell from that picture. So that would make this a 9. Let me see if the answer sheet agrees with me. Nope, the answer sheet disagrees with me. What am I doing here? Do I have the right equation? X minus 1 squared, yeah, y plus 3. How the heck am I gonna... There's no way in the world I'd know that's 4 just by looking at that. So they're saying that it's 4. So if you look at the answer sheet and you see that it's 16, without any other information, how am I going to know what that is? Because they're saying that the distance A is equal to 4, which would create this to be a 16. You know, I took a guess. I said it was 3 just because there's no box. I really feel like they would have to give me more information. Since this is a matching question, if they would have given me equations, I could have ruled out several things and gotten rid of because the slopes would have been wrong or something like that on the asymptotes, or I don't know. There would have been ways to rule it out, but graph the hyperbola. Okay. So let's see here. -1, +2. And we've got an A value of 3. So that means left and right 3. And then a B value of 7. So that means I go up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up here. And down 7. 1, 2, 3. So here's my box. And then we could get our asymptotes through the corners. Since this is a positive y-squared term, we know it opens up something like this. Basic shape of it. You just asked me to graph it, so good enough. Question 50, find an equation in standard form of the hyperbola that satisfies the given conditions. Okay, so vertices at 2 and -2. Okay, so that means my B value is 2. Looks like my center is at the origin. So that's going to be x squared and y squared. If my B value is 2, then that means that's a 4. If my foci are at 0, 7, and 0, -7, right, up here and up here, 7 and -7, we know it's going like this, right? Then that means my C value is equal to 7. And that would be the Pythagorean theorem, right? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So it looks like A squared is 45. And since it's a y squared, which is positive, that means the x squared term is a negative. So there's my equation. All right, question 51. We're getting closer, folks. Getting closer. Where are we at? Center at -3, 3. Okay, why is there no probe? I hate it when they do this. Center is at -3, 3. Just kind of estimating here, folks. -3, 3. Focus -3, 8. -3. Sorry, I'm off my graph, pretty much. Not my rocker, but my graph. I know some of you would argue with me on that one, but okay. Vertex at -3, 6. Okay, so centers at -3, 3. Focus. Vertex at -3, 6. Looks like a job for a hyperbola. So my distance from here to here, that's my B value, that's 3. My distance from here to here is 5, that's my C value. And we should be able to, what do they want me to do, graph this thing? I'm guessing the instructions were graph it. Find an equation in standard form for the hyperbola. Okay, that's all. Too far. Okay. So C, oops, come on, C squared equals A squared plus B squared. A squared would then be 16. Okay. So we can write this equation now. Center, so if it's -3, ouch, my leg's hurting. I don't know why. That's what happens when you get old, folks. Random pains. Oh, you'll enjoy it someday. Let's see, x plus 3 squared, and of course we got, ooh, better not put that in there unless I know for sure. Oh, I do know for sure, because it's opening up and down. Okay, alright, we're cool. That's cool. Y minus 3 quantity squared equals 1. So A squared was 16, and B squared was 9, right? Alright, so we got our equation. Find the eccentricity of the hyperbola. Okay? So I'm going to divide. Stop moving. I said stop moving. You're making it rough on the people at home. Okay? So 0, 0 is the center. This thing opens left and right. So that means my vertices are going to be left and right. So they're along the horizontal. Hey, it looks like a TIE fighter from Star Wars. Okay. So let's see here. We want the distance to the vertex is going to be radical 6, right? So my A value is radical 6. And since that's the longer between A and B, actually, no, it really depends on which way it opens, okay? Not longer in this case. So my C value is found by taking the square root of 6 plus 3, which is the square root of 9, also known on the street as 3. So my eccentricity is C divided by the distance to the focus, which is C, over the distance to the vertex. Distance to focus over distance to vertex. Okay? Alright. And yeah, you can rationalize that. Did they do something stupid like that? Yes, they did. They said radical 6 over 2, so they rationalized it. Folks, remember, you don't have to rationalize things. And, you can just, find the decimal equivalent and move on with your life since it's multiple choice. So 3 radical 6 over 6, and that becomes radical 6 over 2. So that's another version of the same answer. Find the area. Round your answer to the nearest hundredth if necessary. Find the area of the triangle with the measurements. Oh, this is the half absence formula. Right? Half absent, like when you take half a day off of school. Half absence. Okay? And I know you're going to try to tell me, well, it counted as a whole day, Mr. Staley, even if you take a period off. Okay. So in your triangle, you've got angle A, B, and C. All we need is the angle and the two sides that are on either side of that. So we want, so as long as I have two angles, or two sides and the angle in between, I can use the formula. And yes, I will type on my magic machine, or I will just look at the answer sheet. And I better type just to make sure I didn't screw something up. 0.5 times 16 times 28 sine 48. 166.5. Okay, 166.5 is the area. And can I get a whoop whoop? Yes, from the answer sheet. Okay, 54. Find the area with, okay, where are they making me do this again? All right, I can do this again. All right, we got A, B, and C. We got a 67. Side A is 13. Side C is 20. I've got two sides and the angle in between. Back to the formula. 1/2. 13 times 20 times the sine of 67. 0.5 times 13 times 20 sine 67. Oh, make sure your calculator is in degree mode when you're doing all these triangle things. 119.7. Oops. 119.7. All right. I know they said hundreds, folks, on the, but don't get hung up on that. I'm pretty sure since it's a multiple choice final exam, you can figure out which one it is. Okay, solve the triangle. Okay, so they want me to find all of the information. Okay, so we've got A, we've got B, we got C. We got an angle of 20. C is 101. And side C is 6. Okay. We have all the angles, right? We got 121, so what does that make this one? 180 take away 121, isn't that 59? 121, 59, thank you very much. So now we know that angle B is 59. Is it a right triangle? The answer is no. Does it have a known angle and a known opposite side? The answer is yes, right? We got that pair going on right there. So it's time for the law of sines. Sine 101 over, and do we have to think about, no, I don't have to think about the special two triangle situation, the ambiguous case, because we don't have two sides given to us. So sine 101 over 6 equals sine 59 over its opposite side, B. All right, so let's see, cross multiply. 6 sine 59 divided by sine 101. I got 5.24, so B, we'll just say 5.2. Okay, and then of course I need to do the same thing for side A. So we got sine 101 over 6 equals the sine of 20 over A. 6 sine 20 divided by sine 101. 2.1. So now we have all the pieces. We already had angle B, so that took care of that. So we solved the triangle. All right. We got our triangle. We got A, B, C. A, B, C. Easy as 1, 2, 3. Okay, now, here's what's cool that's going on here. We have long side, that's the 19. Short side, that's the 12. And then the angle. We talked about this in class. Long side, short side angle is one triangle, one possible triangle. Okay, we don't have this isn't the ambiguous case. In fact, I don't think you're going to have to worry about that on this, but we'll see. Maybe we'll run across one at 57 or 58 or 59. So let's see here. Sine 31 over its opposite side of 19 equals the sine of angle B over its opposite side, 12. Okay, so 12 sine 31, end parenthesis, don't forget the end parenthesis, divided by 19. Okay, that gives me 0.33. Okay, that is the sine of the angle. So please don't get hung up and say, well, I don't see my answer on there. Well, that's because you've got to get rid of the sine, you know, and if you have that approximate 0.33, you've got to take the inverse sine, okay, of that answer. In fact, I just used the answer feature on your calculator, so you don't have to type all that crap. Sine inverse of the answer. 18, almost 19 degrees. So angle B is 19 degrees. Okay, so we got that part. What else do we need here? Angle B is 19. Okay, if angle B is 19, we should be able to find angle C, right? 31 plus 19, that's 50. And then if you subtract that from 180, you're going to find out that angle C, the one that's not given, is 130. Right? Just using the angles in the triangle. Try to separate these questions from each other. And then, sorry, it's an angle, not a CC, like carbon copy or something. Angle, okay, we're looking for side C. So, little law of sines here, sine of 31 over 19 equals the sine of 130 over side C. Okie dokie. So 19 sine 130 end parenthesis divided by sine 31. 28.3. Little c is 28.3. And yes, that would be a very good rap name. Little c. I heard you in class, and yes, I think that's a good one. 57. A satellite is to be... What are they? Determine an equation for the ellipse. Okay, all right, let's see if we got enough information. Satellite is to be put into elliptical orbit around the moon. All right, the moon is a sphere with a radius 695 kilometers. Determine an equation of the ellipse if the distance of the satellite from the surface of the moon varies from 641 kilometers to 236 kilometers. I'm going to have to sit down for this. Gee whiz. Oh, hold on. Gotta pause the video. All right, problem 57. Let's get back to it. Sorry, got interrupted by like an hour and a half. The satellite is to be put into an elliptical orbit around the moon. The moon is a sphere with radius 695. Okay. This picture doesn't do this whole problem justice because the 695 is definitely looks smaller than the 641 and the 236. So the satellite that goes around the surface of the moon varies. So they're trying to tell me that this goes more with B. Now when I say it goes more with B, that doesn't mean it's equal to B. You can see from my work down here that I had to calculate B, and then I had to use this to calculate A. Now, let me zoom in and show you what I mean by that. Okay, it doesn't help if it doesn't, I mean, why is it not erasing? Okay, now, I should zoom in. Okay, man, it's really lagging. Somebody must be running Netflix around here and Xbox. All right. Now, look at the picture. I've identified the radius of the moon at 695. So to calculate the value of A, come on, lock in place. To calculate the value of A, you have to add the 695 and the 236 together And so we got 931. To calculate B, which is this distance, we're going to add the 695 and the 641, and that's how we got this answer. Okay, and now that we have that, and okay, come on. I don't need extra stuff. I'm trying to zoom out. Okay, and you know what? I'm just going to erase this because it makes me think somebody's going to think that I think that B is 641. So we got x squared and we got y squared. Centers at the origin, so we don't have to worry about anything there. And you could tell from the answer sheet that they didn't want to mess with large numbers because they just did something like this: 931 squared and 1336 squared. So takes care of that. Okay, so that was question 58. A comet follows the hyperbolic path described here, where x and y are in millions. If the sun is the focus, all right, of the path, how close is the sun, or how close to the sun is the vertex of the path? So, in other words, we could find C, and we could do something. We could subtract A. So when they're close together, that would be C minus A. Okay. It's opening left and right, so we've got an A value. A is equal to the square root of 23. And we want to add those together to find C. C is equal to the square root of 23 plus 3, or the square root of 26. And so the C minus A would be radical 26 minus radical 23. And they say, so it ends up being like 0.3, and of course this is in millions, right? So that's why it says millions on the answer sheet. Okay? Should just type it on a calculator just to verify. Square root 26 minus square root 23. Yep, 0.3. Okay, we're good there. Alright, and so a radio telescope has a parabolic surface. Hold on. Okay, radio telescope has a parabolic surface. If it's 9 meters deep and 12 meters wide, how far is the focus from the vertex? Hold on, I'm getting another text. Okay, so based on the way that this parabola has been, where the vertex has been placed, and because it's opening up, we know that this is an x squared equals 4py kind of situation. The key thing is knowing what coordinate is sitting right there. Now, because the width that I'm shown in the picture is 12, that means that this coordinate right here has to be 6 to the right and 9 up. Now, do not try to tell me that 4p is equal to 12, because you're making an assumption that means it goes through the focus of the parabola. It does not, more than likely. So we need to go through and actually figure it out. So, oops, I'm writing the wrong thing. 6 squared equals 4p times 9. Now, if you have to write the equation, then you'd need to find 4p. But this question says, how far is the focus from the vertex? Well, if you know anything about parabolas, okay, if the focus is here and the vertex is here, that means that the distance between them is what they're talking about, and that is what we call p. Well, if I can figure out what 4p is here, 4 times 9 is 36, then I can figure out that 1p is 36 over 36 is 1. That's the answer to my question. I'm done. They didn't ask me to write an equation. They just wanted to know the distance to the focus, vertex to focus, which also proves that that 12 is definitely not in the equation. In fact, it would be 4, right? 4p would be equal to 4, and so the actual equation for this is x squared equals 4y. So, not 12y as some people assume. All right, that completes all the review problems. If you have really done a good job of doing all of these review questions and understanding them, then you will do well on this final. But you have to keep in mind, when you're looking at answers, analyze the answers. Get rid of the wrong ones. Okay? If you have to make a guess, at least get it down to like 2 before you do something like that. But you can really go kind of fast through questions if you know how to get rid of the wrong answers, because the right answer will show up pretty obviously in many cases. And if there's multiple pieces to the question and all the answers, choices A through D, all have the same value, let's say they all have the same radius, don't waste your time finding the radius. You know, go to the part of the question that makes the different answer choices separated out. So you can obviously see, I know that people won't get this example, the wheat from the chaff. That's a farming thing, you know. They used to throw the wheat and the chaff up in the air, and the wind would blow the chaff, right? And then the wheat would fall back to the ground. Okay, to the threshing floor. Okay, well, that's, you know, a long time ago. Way before my time. Anyway, so that's just the old adage, as they say. Have a wonderful study time, and really want you to do well in this final. So, thank you for sticking it out all the way to the end and working through these problems with me. Bye now. Oh, don't forget to be a subscriber. Teach them live, Mr. Staley. Okay, I need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watched hours so that I can retire. Or stop doing driver's ed eventually. See you later.